Have you ever felt like your own mind is working against you? One moment, everything's calm, and then bam, an email triggers you. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Or a few careless words from someone close explode in your head like a grenade. Suddenly, you're spinning, your chest tightens, your thoughts race, and you wonder, why is it so hard to stay calm? Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't train your mind will train you. And trust me, an untrained mind is a wild horse. It reacts, it panics, it drags you through anger, worry, regret, until you can't even recognize yourself. But what if I told you there is a way to take back the reins? There's a path. It's not trendy, it's not new, in fact. It's ancient, and it's been walked by emperors, warriors, and philosophers alike. That path is called Stoicism. Now, don't let the word intimidate you. Stoicism isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about learning how to stay centered when the world spins out of control. It's about discovering an inner peace that doesn't depend on traffic, your boss, your bank account, or anyone else's opinion. Let me tell you a story that brings this to life. His name was Tomas at 33. He had what many would call a stable life, a decent job, a long-term relationship, no major crises. But he had one dangerous habit: he kept everything inside. Work stress, unkind comments, daily disappointments, he bottled them up, said nothing, did what most of us do, smiled, pushed forward, and pretended everything was fine. But inside it was chaos. Each night, he'd come home and explode over little things. A noisy neighbor, a broken toaster, a missing piece of mail. Nothing serious, but enough to trigger an emotional meltdown. Then one night, it all boiled over. His partner simply said, "You're always angry," and just like that, boom, shouting, slamming doors, accusations. Tomas stormed out into the night, wandering aimlessly until dawn. Exhausted and alone, he sat down on a park bench. He pulled out his phone, scrolled aimlessly, and stumbled upon a video. The title? "You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond." He clicked play. That moment changed his life. The video spoke about Stoicism, a philosophy he'd never heard of before. It sounded strange at first, but something in it made sense. Deep sense. He stayed up all night, watching, reading, learning Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. Not just quotes, but truths that hit like a punch to the gut and a hand pulling him out of the mud. He realized something no one had ever told him. Calm isn't something you're born with. It's something you train. And so, Tomas began not with huge transformations, but with small, steady steps. Before reacting, he'd pause and take a breath before complaining. He'd observe when he felt anger rising. He'd take a walk. Of course, he still messed up. He still got angry. But something had shifted. He wasn't a slave to his impulses anymore. Day by day, choice by choice, he became someone different, someone who didn't need to raise his voice to prove a point, someone who didn't crumble when life got messy, someone who knew real power doesn't come from control over others, but from control over yourself. And that brings us to you. Maybe you're not Tomas, but maybe, like him, you've felt your mind spiraling, dragging you where you don't want to go, and maybe, like him, you're just one choice away from discovering that real calm doesn't come when the world is perfect. It comes when you are steady inside the storm. So, if you're tired of being pushed around by your emotions, if you're ready to stop reacting and start responding, if you're ready to train your mind to stay calm, no matter what chaos shows up, then this journey is for you. Let's begin. Part 1. The Power of a Trained Mind. Studio microphone narration begins. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever looked back on an argument and thought, "Why did I react like that?" Or found yourself replaying a moment over and over in your head, wishing you had just stayed calm? You're not alone, we've all been there, snapping when we didn't mean to, saying things we later regret, and then we tell ourselves, "That's just the way I am. I have a short fuse. I can't help it." But what if that's not true? What if calm isn't a trait you're born with, but a skill you can train, just like learning to swim, play an instrument, or lift weights? That's what Tomas discovered. Tomas wasn't always calm. In fact, he used to be the complete opposite. He carried stress like a backpack full of bricks, work pressure, personal disappointments, unspoken frustrations, and like many people, he thought ignoring them was the strong thing to do. He smiled. He showed up. He moved on. But inside he was boiling. The tipping point came on an ordinary evening. A small comment from his partner triggered something deep. The dam broke, and in that flood of emotion, shouting, slamming doors, walking out into the night, Tomas realized something painful. He wasn't in control. His emotions were. That night, sitting alone in a park, he stumbled across a video, one that introduced him to a way of thinking he'd never heard of before: Stoicism. One sentence hit him right in the gut. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. It was like someone had turned on the lights. He started reading, watching, learning not just quotes to hang on a wall, but practical tools. Mindsets, habits, ideas that told him, you don't have to react to everything. You can choose your response. And the more you train your mind, the easier that choice becomes. So he began small. The next time he felt that tight knot in his chest, instead of exploding, he stepped outside for a walk when someone said something irritating. He paused, took a breath when his thoughts started racing. He watched them, like clouds passing in the sky, rather than chasing each one down. At first, it felt unnatural, even pointless. But little by little, something shifted. He wasn't perfect. He still messed up. But he was no longer a slave to his impulses. He didn't feel the need to react to everything, and that's when he understood. Calm isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength under control. That's the power of a trained mind. And here's the thing. Tomas isn't special. He's not a monk. He didn't move to the mountains. He just made a decision to stop being a passenger in his own mind to take the wheel. You can do the same. We often think emotions control us. That stress, anger, frustration, they're automatic. That we have no say, but the truth is, your brain is trainable. Neuroplasticity is real. Your emotional patterns are not set in stone. Think about this. Every time you choose to pause instead of react, you're building a new pathway in your brain. You're telling your nervous system, we don't have to go into fight or flight mode every time someone cuts us off in traffic. You're rewiring yourself, one moment, one breath, one decision at a time. So let me ask you, do you want to keep living at the mercy of every emotion, every trigger, every external storm, or do you want to build a mind that's calm even when chaos knocks on the door? The Stoics had a simple but powerful message. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. And that's not just a quote to post on Instagram. That's a philosophy to live by, a strategy to practice, a muscle to train. Because in the end, you have two choices: control your mind, or be controlled by it. And the moment you choose control, even if just for one breath, you're already on your way to becoming unshakable. Let's keep going. Part 2 to 3 Tools to Train Your Mind. Title: How to Take Back Control of Your Mind in 3 Simple Steps. Studio microphone narration begins. If you've ever said something you didn't mean, if you've ever sent a text and instantly regretted it, if you've ever reacted so fast that even you wondered what just happened, then what I'm about to share could completely change how you handle stress, anger, or any emotional trigger. Because the truth is, your mind isn't your enemy, it just hasn't been trained yet. But here's the good news. You can train it, and you don't need years of meditation or a retreat in the mountains to start. All it takes is a few practical tools, simple things that work in real time. When chaos hits, let me show you 3 of the most powerful ones. Small diamond tool number 1. The3second. Pause. Imagine this. You're in a meeting, and someone throws a passive-aggressive comment your way. Your instinct? Fire back. Defend yourself. Make it known you're not to be messed with. But what if instead, you took a breath, you counted silently? 1, 2, 3? That tiny pause may seem like nothing, but it's everything in those 3 seconds. You give your rational brain time to step in before your emotions hijack the moment. Here's why it works. Your brain has 2 key players: the amygdala, which reacts instantly, and the prefrontal cortex, which thinks things through. The pause gives your prefrontal cortex a chance to say, hold up, is this really worth it? Sometimes, those 3 seconds are the difference between regret and wisdom. Small diamond tool number 2. Rewrite the story. Let's say someone tells you, you could have done that better. How do you take it? Option 1. They think I'm incompetent. I'm a failure. Everyone must be judging me. Option 2. Interesting. Maybe that's feedback I can use. Either way, I'm not giving it the power to ruin my day. Same words, two totally different stories. Which one do you think will help you grow? C. Your mind is always telling you stories about what people meant, what might happen, or what it all says about you, but most of those stories aren't true. They're fear-based, reactionary, old habits. The skill is in rewriting the script. You don't need to turn every insult into a compliment, but you can decide not to make everything personal. You can choose to say, I won't waste my energy on this. And that's not weakness, that's power. Small diamond tool number 3. Activate observer mode. Now here's my favorite one, observer mode. Picture this. You're watching a movie. The main character is you. You're sitting in traffic. Someone cuts you off. What would the wise, calm hero do? Would they scream and honk and lose their mind, or would they stay composed, knowing that anger won't make traffic move faster? Observer mode means stepping outside yourself, just for a moment, and seeing the situation from a higher perspective. When you do that, you're no longer just reacting, you're choosing. This technique is ancient. The Stoics practiced it thousands of years ago, and it still works today. Whether you're dealing with your boss, your partner, or a rude stranger, ask yourself, if this were a scene in a movie, how would the hero respond? Then do that not out of performance, but out of principle. End closing thought. These 3 tools, pause, rewrite, observe, are simple, but don't confuse simple with weak. In fact, the people who stay calm in chaos, who don't lash out, who carry themselves with quiet control, they're not passive, they're powerful because they've trained their mind to respond instead of react. And that training starts with choice, not once, but every single time life throws something your way. So next time you feel triggered, overwhelmed, or close to losing it, remember, take a breath, change the story, watch from the outside. And little by little, moment by moment, you become the kind of person the storm can't shake. Let's keep going. Part 3. Anger. The Thief of Control. Title. Anger lasts 90 seconds. Here's how to outsmart it. Studio microphone narration begins. Let's be real for a second. How many times have you said something in anger that you immediately wished you could take back? One moment, you're calm. The next, it's like something flips inside you. Your heart races. Your voice rises. Logic flies out the window, and when the storm passes, all that's left is a trail of regret. That is the cost of letting anger take the wheel. You see, anger doesn't ask for permission, it doesn't knock politely, it kicks down the door, grabs the controls, and drives your actions straight into chaos. And it only takes a second to destroy what took years to build: a relationship, a reputation, a moment of joy. Just ask Will Smith. It was supposed to be the biggest night of his career, the Oscars. A moment of triumph, but then, one joke, one impulse, one slap, and in that instant, the headlines changed, not because of the award he won, but because of the anger he didn't control. Now, this isn't about judging anyone. We've all had our Oscar moment. Maybe not on camera, maybe not in front of millions, but we've all lost our cool and paid the price. So the question is, how do you stop anger from stealing the best parts of your life? Let's start with the science. According to brain research, the physiological surge of anger, the chemicals, the adrenaline, only lasts about 90 seconds. That's right, biologically. The emotion of anger fades in under 2 minutes. But here's the catch. It sticks around longer only if you keep feeding it. If you replay the insult, if you keep telling yourself, that was so unfair, if you imagine all the comebacks you should have said, that's not anger controlling you anymore. That's you choosing to keep it alive. So what can you do when the fire rises? Small diamond step 1. Count to 90. Seriously, just count. It might sound too simple to work, but that 90-second pause is a game changer. In that time, your brain resets, your heart slows down, and your logic, the part that knows what really matters, comes back online. Just breathe, count, let it pass. Small diamond step 2. Move your body. Anger is energy. It lives in your chest, your fists, your clenched jaw. If you stay still, it builds, it simmers, and eventually, it explodes. But if you move, walk, stretch, shake out your hands, you release it, you let the pressure out before it turns into damage. Try this. Next time you feel that heat building, stand up, clench your fists tightly, Then slowly release them. You'll be surprised how something so small can interrupt the emotional spiral. Small diamond step 3. Ask a better question. When you're angry, everything feels massive, final, unforgivable. But pause and ask yourself, will this still matter next week? It's amazing how many things feel urgent in the moment, but are completely irrelevant by Friday. That rude comment, that frustrating email, that person who cut in line at the grocery store. They don't deserve your peace. Don't hand over the keys to your mental state for free. Bullseye final thought. Here's the truth. If anger actually solved problems, then the loudest people in the room would be the happiest, but they're not. Because anger doesn't give you power, it robs you of it. Real strength is staying calm when it would be easier to explode. Real wisdom is knowing which battles are worth your energy. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said it best. The one who gets angry suffers more than the one who caused the offense. So the next time someone pushes your buttons, the next time a situation tempts you to blow up, pause, count, move, breathe, ask, is this really worth it? Because once you start choosing calm over chaos, you stop letting the outside world control your inner peace. And that is true freedom. Let's keep going. Part 4. Calm is real strength. Title. Why calm people are the most dangerous in the room. Studio microphone narration begins. Picture this. A battlefield. The ground is shaking. Swords are clashing. Voices are yelling over one another in panic. Chaos is everywhere. In the middle of it all, there's one warrior who isn't shouting. He isn't swinging wildly or retreating in fear. He's just walking, steady, focused, calm. He scans the field with clear eyes. He waits. He breathes. And when he moves, he does it with precision. That's the warrior everyone watches. That's the one they respect. Not the loudest, not the angriest, the calmest. Because in chaos, calm isn't weakness, it's power. Now let's fast forward from ancient battles to everyday life. You're in a heated conversation. Someone's trying to get under your skin. You feel the pressure rising. Your heart racing. Your pride kicking in. But then, instead of yelling, interrupting, or trying to dominate the room, you pause. You speak slowly. You hold eye contact. That's when the energy shifts. That's when you take back control. The truth is, we live in a world where the loudest person often gets attention. We confuse aggression with leadership, noise with confidence. But what if the real strength, the kind that lasts, comes from silence? From restraint? From intentional calm? Think about the people you truly admire, the ones who lead under pressure, who make the right call when everyone else is panicking. Chances are, they don't scream to be heard. They don't react to every jab. They stay centered, especially when everything else is falling apart. That kind of presence? It's not natural, it's trained. And you can train it too. Let me give you 3 powerful tools to help you access that kind of calm, even when the room gets loud. Small diamond 1. Strategic pausing. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. When emotions rise, people expect you to react, but if you pause, even just for a few seconds, you send a clear signal. I'm not letting this moment control me. It makes others stop and reevaluate. It makes you stay grounded, and most importantly, it gives your mind space to respond, not just react. Next time you feel the urge to snap back, try this. Take 1 breath. Count to 3. Let the silence do the work. It might speak louder than any words you could have said. Small diamond 2. Control your voice. Volume doesn't equal authority. In fact, the louder you get, the more you signal that you've lost control. But someone who speaks slowly, clearly, and with calm intensity, that's the voice people lean in to hear. Next time you're in a tense conversation, try softening your voice, not raising it. Use pauses. Be intentional with your words. You'll notice something powerful. You don't have to shout to command a room. You just have to own your energy. Small diamond 3. The Stoic gaze. There's something deeply disarming about a calm stare. Not angry, not smug, just still. It says, I see you. I hear you, but you don't shake me. It's what Stoics mastered centuries ago when someone tried to provoke them. They didn't flinch, they didn't escalate. They simply watched, grounded, present, unbothered. That gaze? It's not passive, it's intentional. It says, I don't play the game. I set the tone. Try it the next time someone tries to rattle you. Don't match their energy, hold your own. Bullseye final thought. In a world that constantly pulls at your emotions, the calm one is the dangerous one, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't react, doesn't chase approval. That's the one who leads. Calm is not something you're born with, it's a decision, a skill, a daily practice. So the next time life throws chaos your way, be the warrior in the middle of the storm, not the loudest, not the most aggressive, the one who sees clearly and acts wisely. Because in the end, the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more people who know how to stay calm and led from it. Let's keep going. Part 5. Life isn't fair. So what title? Life isn't fair. Here's how to stay calm anyway. Studio microphone narration begins. Let's get this out of the way. Life is not fair. You know it, I know it, and yet, we still expect it to be. We work hard, we do the right thing, we show up early, stay late, follow the rules, and somehow, the promotion goes to someone else, the recognition lands on someone doing half the work, the opportunity skips you and lands in the lap of someone with better connections, or just better luck. It's frustrating, it's disheartening, and honestly, it's enough to make anyone want to scream. But here's the hard truth. Wishing life were fair won't make it so. So what do you do with that unfairness? Let me tell you about Marta. She worked as an admin assistant for over a decade, smart, punctual, dependable, the kind of person every company silently relies on. One day, a promotion opened up, something she was more than qualified for. She applied, put her heart into the interview, and waited. But the job went to someone else. Not because they were more capable, but because they were related to the boss. Sound familiar? Marta felt invisible, betrayed, and sure, she could have gotten bitter, she could have stewed in anger, she could have quit out of pride. But she didn't. Instead, she made a decision to let go of what she couldn't control and keep moving forward anyway. That mindset wasn't just resilience, it was wisdom, it was stoicism. There's a quote from the Stoic philosopher Epictetus that became Marta's compass. Do not seek for things to happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you will find peace. It sounds strange at first, doesn't it? Why would I wish for unfair things to happen? But look closer, what Epictetus is saying is, stop fighting reality. Stop demanding that the world bend to your expectations. Instead, accept what is, and choose how you'll respond. Marta couldn't make her boss play fair, but she could decide not to let one moment of injustice define her. And that changed everything. Today, she works at a company where she's valued, she's leading, mentoring, growing. That promotion she didn't get? It wasn't the end, it was a redirection. But none of that would have happened if she had stayed stuck in bitterness. Now pause for a second, think about your own life. Has something unfair ever happened to you, a moment where you gave it your all, and got nothing back? Maybe it was a scholarship you worked hard for but didn't get. Maybe it was a project where others got credit for your effort. Maybe it was a relationship where you were honest and ended up hurt. Here's what you need to know. Feeling disappointed is human. Staying stuck in resentment is optional. Because when we keep replaying the injustice, we give it more power, we lose energy, we lose clarity, we lose control of the one thing we do have power over, our mind. And that's where your real freedom lies. You don't need to accept unfairness as right, but you do need to accept that it happens, and then decide who you want to be in response. So here's a challenge for you. Try the acceptance challenge. Just for one day, don't complain about anything. Not the weather, not the traffic, not your boss. Just observe, accept, and shift your focus to what you can influence. It may sound small, but it's a powerful habit. It trains your mind to stop chasing what it can't control and start mastering what it can. And if full acceptance feels too hard, here's something that helps. Imagine you're guided by a Stoic GPS. You don't always understand the route, you hit traffic. You take detours, but you trust you're still getting somewhere. Sometimes, that's all we need, a quiet belief that even when life doesn't go our way, we still get to choose who we become. Bullseye final thought. Life won't always treat you fairly, but you can always choose to respond wisely. You can choose to let go of the storm and find peace in the steady ground beneath your feet. And the moment you do that, you're not just surviving the unfairness, you're rising above it. Let's keep going. Part 6. Losing control is a choice. Approximately 800 words. Title. Emotional control isn't magic. It's a choice you can make today. Studio microphone narration begins. You're standing in line at the grocery store. You've been waiting patiently for 10 minutes, then suddenly, Someone walks right in front of you like you're invisible. They give a little smile, like it's no big deal, and just like that, boom, your blood starts to boil. Do you say something? Do you make a scene? Or do you just breathe and move on? Here's the thing. Most people would say, I couldn't help it. I was just so angry. But the truth is, you can help it. Because losing control, it's not something that happens to you. It's something you allow. Let me ask you something powerful. Do you believe you're in control of your emotions because science says what you believe matters more than you think? A study from Yale University found that people who believe they have control over their emotions actually respond more calmly in high-stress situations, not because they're superhuman, but because they've trained themselves to pause before reacting. They've learned one simple but life-changing truth. You can't always control what happens. But you can always choose your response. That moment in line, it's not about the person who cut in, it's about the story your mind tells you afterward. They disrespected me. People always take advantage of me if I stay quiet. I look weak. But is that really true, or is that just your mind in reaction mode, firing on autopilot? This is where we need a new tool, something simple, something instant. I call it emotional airplane mode. You know how when your phone starts buzzing with notifications, draining your battery, distracting you, you swipe down and hit airplane mode? Everything goes silent, no more alerts, no more calls, no more distractions. You can do the same with your emotions. When someone provokes you, before you react, picture yourself hitting that invisible button. Click silence. No reaction, just stillness. It doesn't mean you ignore the situation, it just means you give yourself space to decide. Is this worth my peace? Let me share something personal. There was a time when family dinners used to stress me out. There's always that one relative, right? The one who makes subtle jabs like, you look tired. Are you eating enough? Or, maybe that career path isn't right for someone like you. It used to ruin my entire night. I'd replay their words over and over. Get defensive, shut down, until one day, I tried emotional airplane mode. They said the same comment, but instead of reacting, I paused. I breathed, I smiled, and I said, nothing. They were waiting for a reaction that never came, and you know what? It changed the whole vibe. Suddenly, they were uncomfortable, not me. That's the power of choosing your reaction instead of letting it choose you. Now, here's a simple question I want you to ask yourself whenever you feel that heat rising. Right finger. Do I really want to give this person control over my mood? Because every time you react without thinking, you're handing the wheel of your life to someone else, and they might not even know, or care, that they're driving you crazy. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you choose your response, you're back in the driver's seat. And that, my friend, is where the real power begins. Bullseye final thought. Losing your temper isn't inevitable, it's a habit. And habits can be changed. No one can take away your peace unless you let them, so next time someone cuts the line, makes a rude comment, or tries to get under your skin, don't react. Don't feed the fire. Just breathe, hit emotional airplane mode, and remember, you always have a choice. Let's keep going. Part 7. The body affects the mind. Title. Your mind is stressed because your body is still. Here's how to fix that. Studio microphone narration begins. Have you ever had one of those days where your brain just won't stop? Your heart's racing, your thoughts are spinning, everything feels like it's too much, and yet nothing truly serious has even happened. You're standing in the kitchen. The rice is boiling over, your phone's buzzing, non-stop emails keep piling in, and suddenly you're snapping at your kids, or zoning out completely. What's happening? Your mind is overwhelmed, but your body, it's completely still. And that's the problem. You see, when your mind is spiraling, the fastest way to calm it isn't thinking more, it's moving. There's a powerful connection between your body and your brain, and science backs it up. A study published in The Lancet Psychiatry found that regular physical movement reduces the risk of severe stress by 43%. 43%, that's not a small boost. That's almost cutting stress in half. Why? Because stress lives in the body just as much as it does in the mind. When you're anxious, you feel it. The tight chest, the shallow breath, the clenched jaw, the stiffness in your neck and shoulders. It's like your body is holding onto tension, waiting to explode. But here's the good news. You can release that tension fast, and you don't need a gym membership or a workout plan, you just need to move with intention. Let me give you a few simple tools to reset your nervous system and bring your mind back to peace, by starting with your body. Small Diamond 1. Take a mindful walk. No phone, no podcast, no agenda. Just walk, feel your feet hitting the ground, notice the trees, the breeze, the sound of your breath. It doesn't have to be long, even 5 to 10 minutes of mindful walking can calm your system and help you process emotions that feel stuck. The Stoic philosopher Seneca actually recommended this practice centuries ago. He believed walking clears the mind and helps you think with more clarity, and it still works today. Small Diamond 2. Shake it out. Yes, seriously, shake. Let your arms swing, shake your hands, loosen your legs, roll your shoulders and neck. It might feel silly at first, but don't underestimate it. Shaking helps your body release built-up tension. Animals do this instinctively after a stressful moment. Ever seen a dog tremble after a scare? That's the body resetting itself. You can do it too. It takes less than a minute. And it's wildly effective. Small Diamond 3. Stretch like a cat. You've seen cats stretch when they wake up. Right? They don't check their emails first, they yawn. They reach. They move every part of their body with total focus. You can learn from that. Try this. First thing in the morning, or anytime you feel tense, just stretch, reach your arms overhead, roll your spine, open up your chest. It takes 2 minutes, and it gives your nervous system space to breathe. Even a single stretch can provide more relief than 10 positive thoughts you're forcing through a stressed out brain. Bullseye final thought. When your mind is in chaos, the solution isn't always up here. Up finger, it's down here. Footprint. In your breath, in your muscles, in your movement. You don't need to think your way out of stress. Sometimes you need to walk, shake, or stretch your way back to balance. So next time you feel overwhelmed, before you spiral, ask yourself, when was the last time I moved my body today? You might be one mindful movement away from turning your entire day around. Because only calm will take you where you really want to go, and sometimes calm doesn't start in your head. Sometimes it starts in your feet. Let's keep going. Part 8. Calm is a choice. Title. Calm isn't a personality trait, it's a choice you make every day. Studio microphone narration begins. Have you ever had one of those rare moments where everything feels calm? No stress, no pressure, no overthinking. And then suddenly, your brain interrupts with, wait a minute, this is too quiet. Something must be wrong. Sound familiar? It's wild, isn't it? Sometimes we're so used to chaos that when peace finally shows up, it feels unnatural. But here's the truth. Calm isn't something that happens when the world behaves, it's something you choose, even when it doesn't. Let's break a common myth. Some people are just naturally calm. Nope, what most people call calmness is actually emotional discipline, the result of intentional daily choices. And that's the good news, because it means you don't have to be born with it. You can build it, you can practice it, you can choose it. The problem is, most of us don't have a plan. We walk into life like it's a battlefield with no strategy, and then we wonder why the smallest thing throws us off. That's where one of the most underrated tools comes in, your emotional plan B. Let me explain. We all have a plan A in our head. I'm going to be calm today. I'm not going to let anyone get to me. But then, your coworker sends a passive-aggressive email, someone makes a comment about your way, traffic makes you late. Plan A? Gone. That's why you need a plan B, not for when things go right, but for when they don't. So what does an emotional plan B look like? It's a decision you make in advance about how you'll respond when life gets messy. For example, right finger, if someone criticizes me, I'll pause before I speak. Right finger, if I feel myself getting overwhelmed, I'll take a walk. Right finger, if I'm hurt, I'll write down how I feel before reacting. It sounds simple, but that's what makes it powerful. Because when your emotions start to take over, you don't have to think, you already know what to do. You've rehearsed it, you've chosen calm before the storm. Now, let's talk about another tool, your calm zone. No, it doesn't have to be a fancy meditation room with candles and essential oils, though if that's your thing, go for it. Your calm zone can be anything that grounds you: a playlist, a place, a cup of tea, a short walk, a journal, even a specific breathing technique. It's your mental reset button. The key is this: have it ready before you need it. Because when your nervous system is in fight or flight mode, it's too late to start Googling how to calm down fast. You need something you can go to immediately, something that reminds your mind. We've been here before. And we know how to return to peace. Let me give you an example from my own life. For me, music is a powerful calm zone. I have a playlist called Anchor that I only play when I'm close to losing it and the moment it starts. My brain goes, oh yeah, we're not reacting today. We're resetting. You can create something like that too. It doesn't need to be dramatic, just intentional. Here's something to reflect on. What's more powerful, being in control when everything is easy or staying calm when everything goes wrong? Because that's where the real work happens, not in perfect conditions but in the middle of tension. Misunderstanding, pressure. That's when the decision to be calm becomes a true act of strength. Bullseye final thought. Calm isn't something the world gives you when it's finally nice to you, it's a practice. A mindset, a choice. And every time you choose it, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're building a stronger, more grounded version of yourself. So the next time chaos shows up, ask yourself, do I have a plan B? Where is my calm zone? Because the more often you return to calm, the easier it becomes to stay there. Let's keep going. Part 9. You are not what happens to you. Title. You are not what happened to you. You are what you do next. Studio microphone narration begins. What defines you? Is it what you've lost? Is it what people have done to you? Or is it what you choose to do now, after the storm has passed? We all go through things we didn't ask for, pain we didn't deserve, moments that left us feeling small, betrayed, broken. But here's the truth. You are not what happened to you, you are what you do with it. Let me tell you a story. It's about a man named Brian L.B.T. Oliver. Maybe you know him online as Brianator. From the moment he was born, life gave him every reason to give up. He lives with spina bifida and degenerative muscle atrophy. A wheelchair has been his companion since childhood. Now, most people would have said, that's it, that's your limit, your life is defined by this. But Brian had other plans. He turned on a camera, he opened TikTok, and he began telling his story. Not with sadness, not with self-pity, but with humor, creativity, boldness. And people listened, millions of them. He didn't just build a following, he built a movement. He stepped into acting. He was nominated for a Goya Award, all of it from a wheelchair. He didn't choose his circumstances, but he chose his response. That choice, it changed everything. There's a powerful Stoic principle that says, you cannot choose what happens to you, but you can always choose how you respond. And if that's true, then it means you always have power, even when life seems unfair, even when things fall apart, even when you're hurt by people you trusted most. The pain is real, yes, but your reaction, that's where your power begins. So what do you do when life hits hard? Here's a simple 3-step tool that can help shift your mind out of victim mode and into action mode. Small diamond 1. Write down 3 possible actions. Doesn't matter how small. Maybe you call a friend, maybe you journal, maybe you apply for something new, maybe you just get out of bed. The point isn't to fix everything, it's to remind yourself, I still have choices. And that alone begins to shift your energy. Small diamond 2. Find the lesson. This one's tough, but essential. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Now, this isn't about spiritual bypassing. We're not saying every painful event is secretly a gift. Some things hurt. Some things are unjust. But if you don't look for the lesson, the pain just stays pain. When you do look, it becomes growth. Maybe that betrayal showed you who's truly in your corner. Maybe that failure forced you to finally chase the thing you really want. Even if the lesson is just, I'm stronger than I thought, that's enough. Small diamond 3. Stop labeling it as bad forever. Here's something that changed how I see setbacks. Just because something feels bad right now, doesn't mean it will be bad forever. Sometimes, the worst moments become the turning points. So before you say, this ruined everything, ask yourself, could this open a new door I'm not seeing yet? Because often, it does. Let me leave you with this. Think about your own story. Think about what you've been through, not what happened, but what you did with it. Because if our experiences defined us completely, we'd all be walking around as broken versions of ourselves, but we're not, because we get to choose. And every time you choose growth over bitterness, strength over blame, action over apathy, you are rewriting your story. Bullseye final thought. You are not the pain, you are not the past, you are not what they said or did. You are the one who decides what happens next. And in that decision lies your real identity. So here's a question for you. What will you do with what life has handed you? Write your next chapter, not as the victim, but as the author. Let's keep going. Part 10. Don't get stuck in the past or future. Approximately 800 words. Title: Stop living in the past or the future. Here's how to come back to now. Studio microphone narration begins. Let me ask you something. How much of your day do you actually spend in the present moment? Not thinking about what went wrong yesterday, not worrying about what might happen tomorrow, just here, now. Be honest. Most of us live like we're trapped in a mental time machine, bouncing between regrets from the past and fears about the future. We replay the things we said, we rehearse conversations we might have, we stress over what could go wrong, and in the process, we miss what's right in front of us. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Man lives only in the present. The rest is either memory or imagination." And he had an empire to run. Imagine if he got stuck on every what if. Rome would have crumbled. But instead of spiraling in doubt, he chose presence, and that's what we need to learn. 2. Because you can't drive forward if you're staring at the rearview mirror, and you can't enjoy the ride if you're constantly looking at the GPS, fearing the next turn. Here's something I want you to try. Next time you feel overwhelmed by what was or what might be, use these 3 practical tools to bring yourself back to the only moment that truly exists: now. Small diamond 1. The mental anchor. Carry a small object with you, something simple: a coin, a ring, a bracelet, even a smooth stone. Every time your mind drifts into worry or regret, touch it, let it remind you, I'm here. This is what's real. This is where I have power. It's a physical cue for a mental reset, and over time, it becomes a quiet habit that pulls you back to center, without even trying. Small diamond 2. The 1-minute reset. Set a timer for just 60 seconds. Then, for that 1 minute, let everything else fall away. No fixing the future, no analyzing the past. Just notice what's around you. Right finger, what do you hear? Right finger, what do you see? Right finger, how does your breath feel? It might sound too simple to work, but it does, because when you give your mind even 1 minute of true presence, it recalibrates like hitting refresh on a frozen computer. Small diamond 3. Ask, what can I do right now? This one's powerful, especially when your mind is spiraling. Don't ask what should have happened, don't obsess over what might happen. Ask, right finger, what can I do right now to make this situation better? Not to fix everything, not to escape the discomfort, just to take one step in the direction of calm, clarity, and control. Maybe it's having that hard conversation, maybe it's turning off your phone, maybe it's making that call you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, act, because the present moment is the only place where action lives. Let me share something that happened to me. Once, I sent a long, emotional text, venting to a friend about something that had built up for weeks. The second I hit send, I realized I'd accidentally sent it to the wrong person. And not just any person, the person I was venting about. For the next 30 minutes, my mind was on fire. What will they think? How can I undo this? Why did I hit send without checking? I was stuck in panic, in regret, in shame. But eventually, I remembered the one question that saved me. What can I do right now? I couldn't unsend the message, but I could call, I could own it, I could apologize, I could choose to respond from integrity instead of fear. And I did. That one choice brought me back to calm. Not because the situation was perfect, but because I stopped fighting the past and focused on what I could do now. Bullseye. Final thought. The present moment isn't always comfortable, but it's the only place where you have any real power. So the next time your mind starts dragging you through past pain or future fear, pause, touch your anchor, take 1 minute, ask one question. Because when you come back to now, you come back to yourself. And from there, you can handle anything. Let's keep going. Part 11. Use your hands to clear your head. Title: Feeling mentally overwhelmed? Use your hands to reset your mind. Studio microphone narration begins. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something with your hands, just for the sake of doing it? Not typing, not tapping your screen, not checking emails or swiping through apps. I mean something real, something physical, something slow. Like drawing, cooking from scratch, fixing something, or just doodling on paper with no pressure to make it look good. If your answer is, I don't remember, that might explain a lot. You see, We live in a world that's constantly demanding things from our minds. Deadlines, notifications, thoughts, endless mental chatter. And the more we try to think our way out of mental overload, the deeper we get stuck in it. But there's a different way, a way that doesn't involve overthinking, a way that starts not in your head, but in your hands. When your mind feels like a tangled mess, your hands can become the key to untangling it. Here's why. Doing something physical with your hands shifts your focus, it pulls you out of your thoughts and into the moment. You're no longer stuck in loops of regret or anxiety, you're just here, focused on movement, texture, sound, sensation. And little by little, the fog in your head starts to lift. This isn't just philosophical advice, it's backed by real research. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the name's tough, but the insight is gold, studied a mental state called flow. That moment when time disappears, when you're fully absorbed in what you're doing, when everything gets quiet inside. Guess what kinds of activities bring people into flow most often? Not scrolling, not consuming, but creating, with their hands. Things like painting, woodworking, gardening, baking, sketching, knitting. Simple, repetitive actions that ground you in reality, without pressure to perform. During World War II, soldiers would often carve wood, fix broken tools, or even sew by hand in their downtime. Not because they were bored, but because it gave them something stable in the middle of chaos. A way to anchor themselves, a quiet rebellion against the madness, a form of healing that didn't require words. So what does this mean for you? It means that next time your mind feels like it's about to break, you don't need more advice, you don't need to figure it out. You don't even need to journal if words aren't coming. You just need to do something with your hands. Here are a few powerful ideas to try. Small diamond 1. Paper therapy. Grab a piece of paper, start drawing, coloring, doodling. Whatever comes to mind, no rules, no pressure, no expectations. You're not trying to create a masterpiece, you're trying to move emotion out of your mind and onto something physical. You'll be surprised how much lighter you feel, even if all you draw is random shapes and lines. Small diamond 2. Model with clay. Remember how calming it felt to play with clay as a kid? There's a reason for that. Shaping, squeezing, rolling. It's tactile, grounding, and oddly therapeutic. It doesn't need a goal, you're simply letting your hands lead while your thoughts catch their breath. If the Stoics had Play-Doh, I'm pretty sure Marcus Aurelius would have kept a stash next to his journal. Small diamond 3. Cook with your senses. No recipes, no measuring, just you, your hands, and the ingredients. Chop, knead, stir, taste. Let it be messy. Let it be slow, feel the textures. Smell the spices, let the act of making something become the meditation. Because when your hands are immersed in creation, your mind doesn't have room to spiral. Bullseye final thought. We're not built to live entirely in our heads, we're built to move, to touch, to create, to feel. So the next time your brain feels like a cluttered attic, don't try to clean it up with more thoughts. Just step out of your mind and into your hands. Because sometimes, the fastest way to find peace is to touch life directly. Let's keep going. Conclusion. Choosing calm is choosing freedom. Title. Choose calm. Choose freedom. Studio microphone narration begins. At the end of the day, every moment of stress, every spark of anger, every wave of anxiety, leaves you with one powerful question. How do I want to respond to this? That's the quiet crossroad where freedom begins. Not out there, not in controlling what happens around you, but in here, in how you choose to show up when life doesn't go your way. See, calm isn't weakness, it isn't passivity, and it's definitely not pretending everything's okay when it's not. Calm is strength under control, it's the power to pause when everything screams at you, to react, it's the ability to protect your peace, even when the world tries to take it from you. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Calm isn't a personality trait, it's not something you either have or you don't. It's a skill, a decision, a practice. Just like learning to play an instrument or getting in shape, you train for it, you stumble, you repeat, you improve, and eventually, it becomes a part of who you are. Think about it. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when your plans fall apart, when a person says something unfair, rude, or just plain wrong, you could explode, you could fall into drama, you could give away your peace for free. Or, you could pause, breathe, choose calm. And every time you make that choice, You're not just avoiding conflict, you're building something deeper. You're building inner freedom, the kind no one can take away from you. Because true freedom isn't the absence of problems, it's the ability to remain grounded no matter what chaos shows up. Let me share something I once heard that changed how I view every stressful moment. You don't control what happens, but you control the meaning you give it and how you respond. That one sentence helped me walk away from countless arguments. Step back before sending that angry message. And say, no, to the spiral of overthinking that used to rule my life. So if there's one thing I want you to carry with you after this video, it's this. Calm is not a luxury, it's a choice, and it's always available. You can choose it in the middle of a fight, you can choose it when everything's uncertain, you can choose it right now. No matter what's going on around you. And the more you choose it, the more you reclaim control, not of the world, but of yourself. And that's the kind of control that leads to confidence, clarity, and peace. Bullseye final affirmation. Say it with me, quietly or out loud. I choose peace, I choose presence, I choose calm. Because when you choose calm, you're not giving up. You're stepping into a deeper kind of power. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything, the kind that doesn't shout to be heard, the kind that knows. Stillness can be louder than noise, and peace can be the strongest response of all. So whatever comes next in your life, choose to meet it with calm. Let's keep going.